Welcome, yogis. Thank you for coming to the mat today and choosing to practice. We're going to start things off a little bit differently, so I'd love for you to find a comfortable seat. Go ahead and close your eyes if that feels comfortable to you. Allow your hands to rest on your lap and just take some easy breaths. I invite you to ground into the theme today, which is perfection, or better yet, getting away from perfection. Perfection stands at the opposite end of freedom. Perfection is limiting, it's rigid, it's a source of frustration and disappointment. If our idea of perfection is challenged, if we make a mistake, we may feel embarrassed, defensive, or defeated. And that creates a block, right? But life is meant to be messy. We're meant to make mistakes. And without them, there's no way to learn or to grow. And so with that, returning to this idea of freedom, it's allowing people to be who they are, authentically and without judgment. And that means for you too. You are free to be, to make mistakes, to learn, to evolve. But if we're too stuck in perfection, we may never get there. We may never try. So today, I invite you to reflect on those moments when you may judge yourself, when you may judge others. Forgive yourself first for judging in the first place. And then you might take that deeper. Where is that judgment coming from? What is beneath the judgment? And it's through that understanding we learn our patterns. We learn how to change our thinking, change our perspective. And just like any other muscle, that process of stopping ourselves when we feel the judgments coming in, letting go of perfection, returning to freedom and authenticity, it just gets easier and easier to do. Let's take a few more deep breaths. Feel the open space through your chest. Commit to yourself to reflect, to acknowledge judgments, and to recommit to truth, to freedom, to authenticity. As you're ready, you can open your eyes. And we'll prepare for practice today, which will be focused on twisting and backbending. If you have blocks, soup cans, even just a water bottle, you may have that nearby. We will work up to half moon, so if you'd like a little bit of help getting the floor up to you, those things could be useful. I will see you very soon on the mat. We will begin practice in a crocodile pose. So we're going to make our way down onto our bellies. You'll stack your palms, set your forehead on your hands, and have your elbows wide. Make any adjustments you need so you can be comfortable. Relax through your belly, your glutes, your legs. Rest the weight of your head on your palms. And start to find even, balanced breath. Use the floor as feedback, expanding through your belly and settling your weight into the earth. Notice the things that move with ease, and acknowledge the things that may be a little stuck or still. let's begin to engage the legs. Point your toes and anchor your toenails into the earth. Breath in, just the upper body will lift. Inhale, lift the palms, lift the head, lift the elbows. And exhale, lower down. Twice more like that. Inhale, peel up. And exhale to lower. Last time, inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. And take your hands by your low ribs. Press all the way back to a child's pose. Let your forehead rest down on the mat. And if the mat is far away, you can stack your palms or even make a fist in the hand and set your head down onto your fist. As much as your head and neck are relaxed, try to keep your arms a little bit more active. Press open palms gently into the earth. Notice if you're restricting the neck at all because of that action. Recommit to the balance. Work in the arms and shoulders. Relax in the neck and jaw. Now lift yourself up through table. Tuck your toes and come right back to downward facing dog. Spread your toes. Extend your heels towards the ground. And then acknowledge where the weight is in your hands. Grip through your fingers. Try to create a little bit of space under the center palm. So if you feel like you're flattened out in the hand, it's kind of like pulling your fingers towards center, almost like you're palming a basketball. Now let's take another full breath in. Exhale, lower your knees down for table. All right, now we'll take some cat-cows, but with a little variation. Starting with your tailbone, we'll begin to arc the back. So keeping the shoulders still, we turn the tailbone. Feel that back bend traveling to mid-back, upper back, shoulders, and the head will lift. Now we're keeping the back bend as long as we can. Tuck the tailbone, feel the rounding in the low spine, the mid-spine, the upper spine, and then the head drops. Now keep the rounding in the upper back. Start with the tailbone. Feel the back bend coming into mid-back, upper back, shoulders, and head. So if this is feeling a little bit too intangible, stick with traditional cat-cows, just flexing and extending the spine. All right, if you're with me, let's continue with the rolls. Starting with the tailbone, curl it under, round your way all the way to the shoulders, and then arc the low back, round it all the way up. One more like that. Tailbone first, round to shoulders. Tailbone first, arc to shoulders. And then we'll switch directions. So now it's the chin. Feel the upper back starting to round, traveling into mid-back, low back, tailbone. Peek forward with your eyes, lift your nose and chin. Feel it in the upper back, mid-back, low back, tailbone. So again, chin first. Round your way. Now, in my opinion, this is the hardest one, right? Lifting through the head, trying to get the sticky upper back to bend before the low back. And traveling your way down. Now, with this idea of perfection, right, come down with the chin again, we're letting go of that sensation. It's just an opportunity to play, to observe the body and learn where there might be some stickiness. And one more time, chin first, round the way to tailbone. And then gaze first, chin will lift, arc your way to tailbone. Tuck your toes, lift up and back, downward facing dog. Rise to tiptoes. Tuck your tailbone and roll the plank through the cat back. Bend the knees, arc your back like cow, and send it back to dog. Walk your hands to the back of the mat and take a ragdoll. Loop your hands into opposite elbows. Hang heavy. If you need to soften the knees here, feel free to do that. And allow the body to bob and sway. Release your arms towards the mat. And then on a breath out, roll the stand one vertebra at a time, all the way up. Sweep your arms overhead, clear it out. And exhale, hands to heart center. All right, we'll just try a few spinal waves. So we're going to just start from the knees. You're going to bend the knees, pretending like you had a wall in front of you. The knees will come forward to tap the imaginary wall. Now we'll move the hips forward. You'll notice the knees comes away. Roll up through the chest, chin, and nose. Knees, hips, chest, chin, nose. Knees, hips, chest, chin, nose. So again, we're imagining this plane in front, only one point touching the wall at once. Knees first, hips second, chest, chin, nose. Let's try two more. Knees, hips, chest, chin, nose. Last one. Knees, hips, chest, chin, nose. Okay, now let's take this into a sweep overhead. So you'll start with the knees, roll up. As you hit that chest, the arms will sweep. Inhale. Exhale, hands to heart. Let's try it again. Knees, hips, sweep. Hands to heart. Last one. Knees, hips, sweep the arms. And exhale, dive forward to fold. Halfway lift, breathe in. Walk it forward, downward facing dog. Find your posture, extending the hips up and back. Inhale, sweep your right leg high, up and back behind for a three-leg dog. Extend through the heel. Feel that pulling you up and back and lightening the load in the hands. Guide your right knee towards your right shoulder. Come forward and tap. Kick it back, three-leg dog. Again, knee to shoulder, tap. Send it away. This time, knee to shoulder, step the foot wide for lizard lunge. Now you're welcome to drop the back knee if you wish. Otherwise, let's stay lifted and active. Your heel is extending back. Your knee is extending forward. And then you're trying to pull the heart between your biceps. Maintain a straight and active back leg if you're with that variation. The hips stay low, but you're imagining your left thigh bone moving towards the ceiling. One more full cycle of breath. Now we'll lift the right foot off the floor, kick it back to a three-leg dog. Take your knee to your left elbow. Kick the leg across for fallen triangle. Spiral your left heel to the earth and reach your left arm overhead. The hips are lifting, the head is dropping back. And then we'll sit down in a wide leg seat. Sit up tall as you inhale. And then exhale, twist to the left. The left fingers will tent behind you. The right fingers can stay inside the left thigh bone, or you can grab the outside of your left leg for a little more leverage. Wrap your left elbow towards the body if that is accessible. Spiral your gaze past your left shoulder. And then you're thinking of hugging your left shoulder blade towards your spine, further peeling the chest open. Take one more full breath in. Exhale, come back to center. Inhale for length. Exhale, twist to the right. Right fingers tent behind. And again, the left hand can either be inside the leg or you're grabbing the outer thigh for leverage. We want to be careful not to lean back on the right arm, but rather use the fingertips to help you lift and lengthen. Spiraling your gaze past the right shoulder, feeling a little stretch in the neck. Couple more breaths. Wide through the rib cage. Okay, so to come out of this, we're in the right direction. We're just going to place the hands down on the mat. Lift that back hip and tuck your left toes under. Slide your right knee towards your chest. Kick it back to a 3-leg dog. Bend your knee, open your hip, and then draw a circle or 2 in each direction. When you're through, 2 feet to the earth, downward facing dog. Think about lifting the peak of the down dog in your hip crease, moving it up and back towards where ceiling meets the wall. On a breath in, fly your left leg up and back behind you. Again, extend back through your heel as if you were being pulled up and back, lengthening through the arms and side waist. Now guide your knee towards your left shoulder. Tap. Send it back, 3-leg dog. Again, knee to shoulder. Send it back. This time, knee to shoulder, step your foot wide, find your lizard lunge. If you'd like to drop the back knee, or if you did on the first side, match that here. Otherwise, we're staying active. Heel back, knee forward, and let's try hugging everything into midline. Extend your heart. If you notice you're stuck in rounding, we're thinking a little bit about upward facing dog. Last few breaths. And let's push firmly through the palms. Lift the left foot, kick it back to a 3-leg dog. Guide your knee to your right elbow. Kick the leg through for fallen triangle. Your back heel will spin in. The right arm reaches. Drop the head and open the heart. As you're ready, sit your butt down. Take your wide leg seat. Now, if you'd like to widen your legs, you're free to do that. We'll start this one by turning to the right, hands framing the right thigh bone. Twist so your torso is aiming at your kneecap, sternum towards kneecap. Sit up tall, and then walk forward to fold. Now, be mindful of your left sit bone. We don't want that to lift up too much. So you're anchoring the pelvis, working the twist, and then walking forward. Continue trying to wrap left rib cage towards your right inner thigh. Notice if your legs have relaxed. Recommit to peeling your toes towards your shin. Walk yourself upright. Rotate to the left. Hands framing your left leg. Again, it's a little bit of a twist. Sternum towards kneecap. Sit up tall. Walk forward while staying grounded through your right sit bone. You only come as low as your body is ready for. So if your elbows make it to the earth, fine. But really no need. You can stay on fingertips. We want to just think about lengthening the spine, right? Try not to round prematurely. That flat back is going to give you way more than rounding forward. Let's bring ourselves back upright. Now, if you have widened your V, you could just narrow the right leg so it's a straight line down the mat. Turn to the left, ground your palms, let your back hip lift. You'll tuck your right toes under, you'll slide your left knee to chest, kick it back, bend the knee, open hip, and draw a circle or two each direction. Whenever you're through, 2 feet to the earth, downward facing dog. And rise to your tiptoes. Take a walk forward to the top of your mat. And breathe in, flat back, extend the spine. Breathe out and bow forward. Rise to stand. Sweep your arms overhead. And hands to heart, exhale. Bring the feet together to touch with a little space between your heels. Sink down to a chair pose. Spread the toes wide. Ground down. Bring the weight towards your heels. And then your reach is pulling the side waist a little longer. One more full breath in. Exhale, hinge and fold forward. Half lift, flat back. Ground the palms, step or jump, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Right away, send the right leg to the sky, sweep it up. Take your knee to your chest, step your foot forward for warrior one. Back heel will drop down, the arms sweep overhead. Staying grounded in your back foot. There's a little bit of a spiral forward, but again, we're not forcing anything. Right? We might have this image of the perfect pose with this forward-facing situation, but sometimes if we force too much, if we're too rigid, that may cause the back knee to bend or the back heel to lift, and that's no bueno. So we stay anchored, we encourage a rotation, and just let the body be where it wants to be. Now maintain the leg, just bring your arms down by your sides. Roll your shoulders up, down, and back, and take the interlace behind your back. Now if you can't quite get the hands interlaced, you can always use a strap to connect the two hands. If you're with me, try straightening out the arms and opening the heart. On a breath in, lift the heart, back bend. Breath out, humble warrior. Now be careful to not let the right hip sway out to the side. We're going forward and keeping those same warrior one legs. The arms will drift up and overhead. You'll squeeze the shoulder blades towards the waistline. And maybe you look underneath the pose towards your back foot. Take one more inhale. Exhale, float the hands down to the mat. Step back to plank. Come through chaturanga. Upward facing dog. To downward facing dog. Right away, left leg to sky, sweep it up. Take knee to chest, step the foot forward, rise to warrior one. Now take your time getting situated. This is a back bend posture, but with back bends, we often want to charge the heart forward, right? It makes us feel like we're in this nice big expression. But what that action does is dump and trap the back bend in our low spine. So instead, I'll ask you to sink your sternum into your chest, lengthen upwards, and there might be some arcing back for the back bend. More lift, more length. Press down through your feet to keep your anchor. Let your arms come down by your sides. And then shoulders roll up, down, and back. Take the interlace or maybe a strap. Extend your arms straight. Take a breath in, back bend. Breath out, humble warrior. Come forward, move slow. So you can stay up here, right? If you have the ability to go lower, the shoulder might snug onto the left knee, and then maybe you look towards the back foot. Reach the fists away and overhead. One more full breath in. Exhale, float your hands down to the earth. Step back to plank. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. To downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Rise to your tiptoes. Bend your knees. Walk or hop top of the mat. Flat back. Bow forward. Chair pose. So once again, we'll have the big toes to touch with a little space between the heels. Now let's see if you can, in one action, lift your heels and reach your arms back like airplane. Squeeze your inner ankles towards one another. Sink a little lower. And keep the chest open. Again, if the balance is tricky, that's okay. If you feel judgment coming up, acknowledge it. Let it go. Now in one motion, we're going to take a standing back bend. Lower the heels, straighten the legs, reach the arms up. Exhale, hinge and fold forward. Flat back. Ground your palms, step your left leg back to a runner's lunge. All right. Take your left hand to the mat. Reach your right arm to the sky to twist. Notice if your left hip has sunk towards the earth. See if you can lift that up a little bit and keep the hips more square with the twist happening in the torso. Now we're going to go to a side plank. You are welcome to bring your right hand down, to step back to plank, and then open up. Otherwise, we're going to try stepping into it. Keep your left hand anchored. Your left heel is going to drop to the left, and then this right foot will step back to stagger or stack on top of the right leg, or the left leg rather. Now if you need support here, you can always bring your left knee to the ground, stay in the side plank here. If this is where you are, stay in this position. If you're in the full side plank, we're going to take a rock star. Bend your right knee, step your right foot behind you, lift your hips and reach overhead. Find the back bend. All right. Square yourself back to plank pose. 2 hands to the mat, 2 feet to the mat. Pike the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in, full breath out. Sweep your right leg up and back behind. Drive your knee forward, step forward. Low lunge. Lower your back knee down and extend your arms up. Take your hands down to your right thigh bone. All right, now we're going to try a variation in the lunge. It could get a little crunchy in the back knee, so if you have a blanket or a sweatshirt or something nearby, feel free to stuff that under the left knee for some added padding. When you're ready, we'll bend the left knee, bringing the heel towards the glute. Either stay here and work the strength, or you'll take your left hand back to grab your foot and pull the heel in. If all is well, reach your right arm up to the sky. And then we just breathe here. If you can't quite get the bind with your hand, if you're squeezing your heel to your glute, if at any time that gets to be too much, just lower your leg down. You can still get a stretch in the quad by the traditional low lunge. All right, we'll all gently release the foot if you have it. Bring both arms to the sky, sweep up. Exhale, hands to heart center. And then we're just going to step forward to mountain pose. Take a breath in, sweep overhead. Breath out, bow forward to fold. Once again, bring your big toes to touch. Chair pose. So we try this transition again. In one movement, the heels will lift and the arms reach back like airplane. Hug your inner ankles towards one another. Squeeze invisible pencil between your shoulder blades. In one movement, lower the heels, straighten the legs, reach the arms up, and take back bend. Hinge forward and fold. Flat back, breathe in. Ground the palms, step your right foot back, runner's lunge. Ground your right palm, sweep your left arm high to twist. Again, the back leg is very active. Thigh bone is lifting even though the hips are low. And again, we're coming towards that side plank. So if you're going back through plank pose, take your transition. If you're trying to step into it, we'll drop the heel to the right in the back leg. Slide that left leg back to stagger or stack. Remember your variation of lowering your right knee to the earth if you need some support, in which case you'll stay here. If you're going for the rock star, bend your left knee, step your left foot behind you, reach overhead, and allow the head to drop. Take it back over to plank pose, nice and smooth. Pike your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Breathe your left leg up and back behind. Take your knee forward, step your foot forward, and lower your back knee. Low lunge. The arms extend overhead. Float your hands down to your thigh. And then again, if you need that support, you can put a blanket or sweatshirt underneath your right knee. We'll try bending the right knee and either staying here or reaching back for your foot and pulling your heel in. If all is well, the left arm will extend back up to the sky. Find your variation of the posture. Remembering that traditional low lunge with the right shin on the ground is all well and good. Gently lower your back foot if it's lifted. Sweep your right arm to the sky. Hands to heart center. And then again, it's just a step forward to Tadasana. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Flat back. Ground the palms, step to plank. And then we'll lower all the way down to the belly. So from here, it's a reverse needle. Start with your right arm. Send it straight out to the side with your palm on the earth. Left hand underneath your left shoulder. And then we're going to roll onto the right side body. You can stay here. You might step the left foot behind you, the knee aiming towards the ceiling. And then let's try taking the left arm behind the back. Now this is a fine place to stay. You can try the dancer bind, if you'd like, by lowering your left thigh towards your right thigh. And then your left hand's going to reach back for your foot. If you get the razor edge of your foot, that is fine. If you're able to switch the grip and take the inner arch, thumb pointing up towards the toes, that's just a nicer position for the left shoulder. Now we'll try kicking into the left hand and slightly pulling up. But then remember that this dancer is on its side. So we're trying to keep that plane. Thigh bones closer to parallel, but then extending the knee behind the body. Last few breaths. Slowly unravel, coming back over to your belly, and we'll switch. This time the left arm will extend straight out to the side. We'll bring the right hand under the shoulder. Press and roll to your left side body. And then again, either stay put or bend your right knee and place your foot behind you. If available, let's try the right arm behind the back and hang out here for a few breaths. If you're trying that dancer bind, bring your right thigh bone closer to the left. Reach your right hand back, see if you can get your foot. And then again, the outer edge is great. If you want to try for the inner arch of the foot, thumb towards the toes, you try that. Extend back and slightly pull up with the right arm. And again here, we're careful not to let the knee move up towards the ceiling too much, limiting the gap between the thigh bones. Now, that doesn't mean they need to be touching, but just hugging to midline. Slowly release what you have. Unravel back over to your belly. If you need a little bit of release, we're going to stack the palms, elbows wide. Bend your knees and just take a little windshield wipe side to side. Whenever you're satisfied, allow the legs to drape down towards the earth. Take your hands under your shoulders. Press back towards a child's pose, hips to heels. Let your arms extend out front, forehead rested on the earth. And then, as you're ready, tuck your toes, lift up and back, downward facing dog. Breathe in, rise to your tiptoes, walk or hop towards the top of your mat, and then give yourself a little bit of room in front, so maybe halfway or 2/3 of the way up the mat. Half lift to breathe in, bow forward to fold. Bring your feet together, a little space between the heels, chair pose. Hands will come down to heart center. Take a breath in. Exhale, twist to the left, hooking your right elbow outside the knee if accessible. Otherwise, you can stay hovering or even put the elbow inside the right knee. Create some space between your belly and your thighs, and then a little bit of up dog in the chest. Be mindful of your knees. Oftentimes, the right knee will want to come in front of the left. A little bit out of alignment is okay. A lot of it we want to try to mitigate. Now on a breath in, arms up for chair pose. Hands come down to heart center. Take an inhale, stand on the right foot, left knee to chest. Cross your ankle past your right knee and squat low. Okay, let's start to hinge. Bring your hands down towards the mat, and then we're going to walk the hands forward. Come down to kneel, so right knee to the earth. Now we'll set up half pigeon. Slide your right leg back. In this half pigeon, we do want to be a little more active, so we're going to keep the back toes tucked under. If you have the ability to, let's lift the back knee off the mat. Engage your left leg by pressing your leg down into the ground. You'll feel a little bit of lift. And then we'll start by just walking the hands to the right. Now this might be where you stay, just this little bit of twist and rotation. If you want to try a little bit deeper, we'll take the left elbow into the arch of the left foot, hands to prayer, and you twist. So you'll notice that my body is lifted, right? I'm not sinking, my head is not on the ground. I'm pushing my elbow into the foot, and then the thumbs are coming closer and closer towards the sternum. Take a few more deep breaths. Back leg is active, knee is lifted if possible. Now slowly come out of this. Hands will return to the mat. Slide out through a 3-leg dog. And give that left hip a little swirl. Couple hip circles. All right, 3-leg dog. Left leg will fly up and back. Take knee to chest, step your foot forward, and open to warrior 2. Settle through the legs. Be mindful of your left knee and ankle being in line. And then without allowing your knee to move, try to peel your right hip open, spreading open through the front of the pelvis. Now maintain this nice alignment. Straighten your left leg while spiraling your left kneecap towards your pinky toe. Reach forward with your left arm for pyramid pose, triangle pose, reaching as far forward as you can, and then it's left hand down, right arm high. Notice if you're sticking your heart out, pull your ribs in to expand your back, and then we'll try the right arm behind the back for half bind. If you can get towards your hip crease, you might be able to grab hold of your thigh bone. And then again, we spiral towards the ceiling. Look past your right shoulder. All right, peek down at the floor, bend your front knee. We'll prepare for half moon. So if you have your support, you'll bring it forward and to the left of your front foot. Ground through your fingers, shift your weight into your left foot, and we'll start to lift the right leg up. Roll your right hip open. Again, you're welcome to stay here, working with the half bind perhaps. And if you want to go a little further, we'll bend the right knee. Reach your right hand back, see if you can grab your foot. Again, outer edge is fine. If you can get the inner edge, you might try. Now remember again, this dancer is on its side. So we're essentially aiming at the side wall. Kicking back into the hand and slightly pulling upwards to create that dancer shape. Last breath or two. Slowly release your bind if you have it. Step back to warrior 2, soft landing. Flip your front palm to reverse. Windmill down to runner's lunge. You can go to dog or flow it out. Three breaths in downward facing dog. Rise to tiptoes, bend the knees, walk or jump towards the top of your mat. Again, we're going to give ourselves some space, so you're about 2/3 of the way up the mat. Bring your big toes together to touch and return to chair. Draw the navel in while maintaining a lifted heart. And the hands will float right down to heart center. Take a breath in. Exhale, twist to the right. Hook your elbow outside the knee, maybe inside the left knee, or hovering. Again, remember, there is no perfect. There is no big final expression. If that bind is unavailable, hovering the elbow actually invites more strength. So be happy with wherever you are. Last few moments to breathe. Inhale to chair, arms up. Hands to heart, exhale. This time, weight in the left foot. Draw the right knee to chest. Cross the ankle past your left knee and squat down for figure 4. Now in this pose, it's often that the right hip will want to dip. So our goal is to keep the hips level and then work some deepening. Take your hands down to the mat. So we're going to walk the hands forward, kneel down on the left knee so your right shin finds the ground, and then slide the left leg back to half pigeon. Keep your back toes tucked under, And then if possible, lift your back knee. Start by walking your hands to the left and just getting a little bit of rotation. Again, the right shin is pressing down, so you have a little bit of lift and support. If you're trying deeper, we'll take the right elbow to the arch of the right foot, hands to heart, and you work the twist. Last few breaths. Release, slowly bringing your hands back to frame the mat. Tuck your back toes to slide your right leg back and take a few hip circles to counter the pigeon. It's a 3-leg dog, right leg to sky. Take knee to nose, step your foot forward, and rise up to a warrior 2. Organize your legs. Right knee forward over the right ankle. From this anchor, the left hip is trying to peel back and open, broadening the front of your pelvis. Resist a back bend by plugging the ribs into the back body. Expand your back ribs. Straighten your front leg while spiraling your kneecap towards the pinky toe. Reach your right arm forward for your triangle pose. When you can't reach anymore, the right hand comes down, the left arm goes up. Again, we're going to plug the rib cage towards the back body. Roll the heart open and try for the half bind. Left arm comes behind the back. If you can get your hip crease or even your thigh bone, wiggle your fingers in there and hold on to it. Keep the half bind if you're able. Spiral your gaze towards the floor and bend the right knee, prepping for half moon. So either with your prop or simply your fingertips, place that forward and to the right of your front foot. Shift your weight into the right foot and peel the left leg up off the ground. Stabilize in the pose. If you need to, you might recommit to the half bind, left arm behind the back. And then you're good to stay here. If you want to try for that dancer, you'll bend the left knee. Reach your hand back to grab your foot. Outer edge is great. Inner arch also is good. Now kick back and slightly pull up with your arm. Remembering this is a dancer tipped on its side. So we want to keep the left hip rolling open and then almost pretending like the ceiling has lowered down to touch your left hip and your left outer knee. So it's flat in relationship to the ceiling. Now as you're ready, slowly release any bind. Land in a warrior 2, nice and gently. Flip your front palm to reverse. Windmill the hands down to runners. It's down dog or a flow. Lower your knees down and as wide as the mat. Come back to a child's pose. And then here, feel free to soften the elbows. If it would feel better to drape your arms back towards your heels, you're free to do that. And it's just soft, easy breaths. Take yourself back up to tabletop. And then it's a breath in, reach your right arm high to the sky, open the chest, thread the needle, right arm under left arm, head and shoulder come down. Reach your left arm forward towards the top of the mat. And then let's try squaring towards the ground.
Forehead on the floor, left ribs rolling towards the earth. And slide the left hand back by the face. Unravel, right arm to the sky, open up. And take 2 hands back down to the earth. Inhale, left arm to sky, reach it up. Thread needle. Left arm under right arm, set your head and shoulder down. The right arm will reach forward. And then again, we'll try squaring towards the earth. Forehead on the floor, right ribs wrapping down. Take your right hand back by your face. Unravel the left arm to the sky, reach it up. 2 hands to the earth. Sway your hips to the left as you look right over your shoulder. Sway your hips right and look left. Take these back and forth a couple times. Notice which side is giving you the most feedback. Choose that side to lower your hips and swing your legs out in front of you. Now grab behind the thighs, lower onto the back, 1 vertebra at a time. Once you get down there, have your knees bent with your feet on the floor. Kick your right leg straight up to the ceiling, and then drape your right leg over your left leg for eagle legs. The left foot will lift off the floor. You could stay here, gluing your ankle towards the left leg, or wrapping the toes around. Take eagle arms by taking right arm under left arm. Loop all the way around, or again, you could just glue the back of the palm to the back of the arm. On an inhale, tap fingers overhead and toes to the earth. Exhale, crunch up, elbows to knees. Inhale, open. Exhale, crunch. 3 more. Tap and crunch. Tap and crunch. Last 1. Crunch and hold for 3. For 2. And 1. Lower your head down. Release your arms. And then we're going to take the legs and drape them to the left. If this eagle wrap is too much, just unravel the legs. Find an expression of a twist that's working for you. The right arm can reach wide, and then you can try lifting your head, looking to the right, and putting your head back down. Feel free to close your eyes. And just feeling for the rise and fall that comes with your breath. As you're ready, slowly come on back to center. Unravel the legs. Bring your hips back to square. And then we'll bring the feet as wide as the mat. Just do a little bit of windshield wiping back and forth. Loosen up the low back. We'll come back towards neutral. This time the left leg will kick up to the sky. Drape the left leg over the right. Lift your right foot off the floor. And then maybe the left toes wrap behind the right leg for the full eagle legs. For the arms, it's left arm under right arm. Loop around or glue the backs of the hands. Inhale, tap, The toes to the earth, fingers overhead. Exhale, crunch, elbows to knees. Inhale to open. Exhale, crunch. Go for 3, for 2, and 1. Crunch and hold for 3, for 2, and 1. Lower your head, unravel the arms, and let the legs drape over to the right. Again, let the legs unravel any amount necessary. Take your left arm wide, and then you might try lifting your head, looking left, and putting the head back down. Close the eyes and breathe easy. Last few breaths. We'll take it back to center. Unravel your legs. And then once again, with feet as wide as the mat, just drape the legs left and right. If your body is craving a little bit of stillness, you could always drape the legs and hold, and then switch. And then whenever you're satisfied, bring your feet again, placing them as wide as the mat, and just let your knees drape together. Bring one hand over your heart, one hand over your belly. Close your eyes and breathe. Feel the rise and fall under both palms. If you noticed any judgments arise, investigate that a little bit. Why are you so critical of yourself or of others? What is the source? When we understand our emotions, there is space for us to interact with them a little bit differently. Beginning to see these emotions as something separate from our true nature. Our true nature is clear. It is without restriction. It is free. Free from judgment, free from disappointment. Let's start to slowly extend the legs long down the mat. The palms can stay put if it's comfortable. Otherwise, drift them someplace that will be. Soften your effort. Relax your face. Give yourself permission to rest, even if for only a short time. Shavasana. stay longer, I encourage you to do so. Otherwise, start to create gentle movement and deepen your breath. Take your knees towards your chest, roll to your right side, and give yourself a moment in stillness. Press yourself up to a cross-legged seat with your eyes closed. Feel your tall, stacked spine, and float your hands in front of your heart. Bow your head for a moment, sealing in your practice and committing to inquiry into a need or a desire for perfection. Instead, looking for places where we can exercise our freedom and where we can allow others to do the same. I thank you all for practicing with me today. Let's guide thumbs to third eye at our foreheads. Together, with love, light, and gratitude, we bow. Namaste.